Elijah Vance carried the Delta dust on his boots and a hopeful glint in his eyes. Leaving Sunflower County, Mississippi, was a pragmatic decision, not a heartbroken one. He was intelligent, charismatic, and blessed with an easy smile that made friends effortlessly. Opportunity, he reasoned, lay north, in the bustling cityscape of Oklahoma City, a place that promised more than dwindling cotton fields. He found success quickly. His sharp mind and engaging personality landed him a good job, and his natural charm drew people to him. Life, it seemed, was aligning perfectly. Elijah was a man of diverse interests. He loved the kinetic energy of late-night basketball pickup games, the quiet contemplation of chess at a local cafe, and the vibrant rhythm of live jazz music. It was at a low-key jazz bar, the kind with dim lights and the smell of old wood and expensive whiskey, a place he frequented for his love of improvisational melodies, that he met Paisley. She moved with a liquid grace that caught his eye immediately. Her beauty was beyond compare, of such an ethereal quality that it made supermodels look plain, dull. She was without a doubt the most beautiful woman in the world, in everyone's eyes. Her dark, cascading hair, eyes that held an unnerving depth, and a smile that seemed to understand secrets before they were even whispered. What struck him, though, was the intensity of her attention. It wasn't flirtatious in a playful way. It was almost predatory in its focus, a sensual, possessive gaze that promised everything. She seemed to hang on his every word, her eyes never leaving his, making him feel like the only person in the universe. That night, she was exclusively his, and he could feel the palpable envy from every other soul in the room, their gazes burning holes through him as they silently seethed with hatred for his undeserved fortune. He was drawn in, undeniably. Her conversation was captivating, her wit sharp, her touch like an electric current. They talked, they laughed, they drank, and the world outside the bar's velvet embrace seemed to fade. The night culminated in a whirlwind of intoxicating passion, a single nightstand that left Elijah breathless, exhilarated, and utterly consumed. Her skin, bathed in the soft glow of the city lights filtering through his window, was like warm ivory, flawless and inviting. Every curve of her body was a masterpiece, the graceful slope of her shoulders, the delicate line of her collarbones, the gentle swell of her breasts that rose and fell with each soft breath. Her waist was exquisitely narrow, a contrast to the lush curve of her hips that flowed into impossibly long, elegant legs. As she moved, there was an effortless sensuality, each gesture a silent invitation. Her dark hair fanned out on the pillow like spilled silk, framing a face that was pure perfection, with full, soft lips that promised untold pleasures. He remembered the faint, intoxicating scent that clung to her, a blend of jasmine and something wild, uniquely hers, that filled his senses and promised to haunt him forever. Every touch, every whisper, every moment with her was etched onto his very being. The next morning, she was gone, not just from his bed, but from the world. He tried her number, disconnected. He returned to the jazz bar, the bartender, the bouncers, even the regulars he'd seen her interact with the night before, looked at him blankly.
Paisley? Never heard of anyone by that name here, pal.
A cold dread began to creep in. He searched online, asked mutual acquaintances he thought they shared, but it was as if she had never existed. A blankness, a void. At first, he dismissed it as a strange, intense encounter. He tried to forget her, to rationalize her disappearance as a one-off oddity, but the memories clung to him, vibrant and insistent. As days bled into weeks, her memory didn't fade, it intensified. It was a phantom limb of desire, an ache for a presence that had ceased to be. He'd catch her scent on an empty pillow, feel the ghost of her touch on his skin. He started seeing fleeting glimpses of her in crowds, a flicker of dark hair, a swirl of a dress, making his heart race. Sometimes he'd hear a faint, melodious whisper, a laugh that resonated deep within his bones. even when no one else seemed to notice. These sensory hallucinations, initially dismissed as stress, became more frequent, blurring the lines of reality. His obsession tightened its grip. His thoughts, once disciplined and rational, became singularly focused on Paisley. He spent hours tracing his steps from that night, revisiting the jazz bar, lingering in cafes he thought she might frequent. He became hyper-alert in public, his eyes constantly scanning faces, his posture rigid with anticipation, hoping to catch another glimpse, hear another whisper. As weeks turned into a month, his search broadened. He started taking circuitous detours from his regular routes to work or the gym, driving through unfamiliar neighborhoods, even venturing into nearby cities on weekends, convinced that she must exist somewhere, perhaps just outside his immediate sphere. He convinced himself that if he just looked hard enough, she'd reappear. Each vivid recollection of their night, the intimacy, the raw passion, the feeling of absolute togetherness, became more potent, more real than his waking life. More than anything, he craved her singular, all-consuming attention. His confidence waned, replaced by a growing desperation, his once easygoing nature twisted into a restless agitation. The consumption was slow, insidious. His work suffered, his focus shattered. His friends, initially concerned, grew worried by his increasingly erratic behavior. Conversations with him inevitably circled back to Paisley, a woman they insisted they'd never met. His once easygoing charm was replaced by a simmering irritability. He snapped at minor inconveniences, lashed out at well-meaning questions, and retreated into a solitary world fueled by his escalating obsession. The worried glances turned to wary distances. Invitations stopped coming. He became irrational, convinced that others were deliberately hiding Paisley from him, or that their skepticism was a form of betrayal. His interactions with strangers became openly hostile, his frustration boiling over at the slightest perceived slight. Sleep offered no escape. His dreams were vivid, torturous replays of their night, culminating in her chilling, knowing smile. He stopped eating properly, his handsome features growing gaunt. His eyes, once bright, now held a haunted, faraway look. The breaking point arrived violently. A mundane interaction in a coffee shop, a stranger bumping into him, triggered it. A flash of her image, clearer than ever, surged through his mind, imbued with an unbearable longing. He saw red. The world blurred into a chaotic canvas of obstacles between him and the imagined presence of Paisley. He lashed out, a primal roar tearing from his throat, attacking anyone who seemed to block his path. A drug-crazed beast unleashed. Tables overturned, screams erupted, and a frenzied, terrifying strength pulsed through him. The police arrived swiftly. They tried verbal commands, then tasers, but the man who was once Elijah Vance was beyond reason, fueled by an unholy obsession. He charged, utterly unhinged, a wild, desperate hunger in his eyes. The escalating force became inevitable. A shot rang out, then another. He crumpled to the grimy pavement, the sharp pain momentarily cutting through the fog of his madness. As life drained from him, the haze in his mind began to clear. His eyes focused, and he saw them. The bewildered, frightened faces of the officers, the scattered coffee cups, the wreckage he had caused. The sirens of distant ambulances and police cruisers wailed, the shouts of bystanders and investigators forming a chaotic symphony around his prone form. Yet, even as the world around him clamored, a profound silence began to creep in, muffling the sounds, darkening the edges of his vision. And then, standing on his chest, as if floating, completely invisible to everyone but him, was her, the woman he craved, Paisley. The beautiful, alluring form shimmered, wavered, and then began to distort, a grotesque metamorphosis unfolding before his dying eyes. Her once smooth skin rippled, turning a sickly, mottled gray, stretched taut over a skeletal frame that seemed to elongate unnaturally. Her dark hair writhed like a nest of vipers, each strand coiling and uncoiling independently. Her eyes, formerly deep and alluring, now bulged, multifaceted and insect-like, glowing with an internal, malevolent light that pulsed with dark energy. The sensual smile he had once found so captivating twisted into a jagged, gaping maw filled with rows of needle-sharp blackened teeth, slick with an unseen ichor. Elegant hands elongated, the fingers stretching into bony, razor-tipped talons, tipped with grotesque, yellowed nails. Tendrils of shadow, thick and suffocating, writhed around her, and a faint, sickening stench of decay and something anciently foul wafted from her true, monstrous form. Her beauty was not just gone, it was violently inverted, a mirror image of pure, unadulterated hideousness. This was no succubus demon monster. This was a hideous, soul-devouring entity, disgusting, terrifying, yet still holding that horrifying gravitational allure that had damned him. She leaned in, her true, repulsive face hovering inches from his. The profound sadness that had fleetingly appeared in his hallucinations was now replaced by a cruel, triumphant glint in her monstrous eyes, like a predator savoring its kill. He knew. In that final, horrifying moment of clarity, he understood the truth. He understood it as a unique, agonizing form of urban dislocation syndrome, a rare, extreme psychological breakdown occurring in some individuals who transition from the quiet familiarity of rural life to the overwhelming, anonymous vastness of a major city. His mind, unmoored by the sudden absence of the anchor of familiarity and connection, had become a fertile ground for this parasitic entity to take root and flourish. No heaven, no hell, no eternal rest, no fiery damnation, only oblivion. Confusion, cold and alone, his vision blurred, his mind a terrified void. The sirens and shouts outside faded completely, replaced by an inky blackness pressing in. His heart thrummed a final desperate beat. As his eyes dilated, becoming wide, vacant pools, and then slowly turned glassy, the cold sensation intensified, a vacuum consuming him from within. His physical body, surrounded by the clamor of the investigators and bystanders, remained on the pavement, a vacant husk. But within, his soul was being meticulously, excruciatingly devoured, leaving behind only nothingness.
He bore a crown of hope so high, his empire kissed the endless sky, but shadows whispered soft and sly. A succubus caught his rolling eyes. He smiled like fire, she danced like sin. Hold him close, the fall begins. Her kiss was sweet, her heart was black. He gave it all, no turning back. His castle crumbled, brick by brick. Her touch was ice, her charm so slick. The wealth, the power, it turned to dust. He fed her lies, she fed his lust. The mirror cracked, his face grew gray. Her laughter stole the light of day. A king reduced to a hollow shell. Her lips a doorway straight to hell. She smiled like fire, she danced like sin. Hold him close, the fall begins. Her kiss was sweet, her heart was black. He gave it all, no turning back. His castle crumbled, brick by brick. Her touch was ice, her charm so slick. The kiss was sweet, her heart was black. He gave it all, no turning back. His castle crumbled, brick by brick. Her touch was ice, her charm so slick. Her touch was ice, her charm so slick. The wealth, the power, it turned to dust. His castle crumbled, brick by brick. Her touch was ice, her charm so slick. Her touch was ice, her charm so slick. The wealth, the power, it turned to dust. The mirror cracked, his face grew gray. Her laughter stole the light of day. A king reduced to a hollow shell. Her lips a doorway straight to hell. Her mirror cracked, his face grew gray. Her laughter stole the light of day. A king reduced to a hollow shell. Her lips a doorway straight to hell. Now he wanders, a ghost in pain, a broken man lost in her reign. The devil's kiss, his final vow. Less than nothing is all he's now.